G'day, Michael Young here, and this week back in the home office, wearing the good old clothing that I don't wear when I'm working with clients, so I can keep warm and relax on this rather chilly Canberra day. So this week I wanted to talk about, from a sales perspective, the idea of objections. And so what we often find is when we're talking to prospective clients, we're talking to people about what their underpinning issues, needs, problems, desires, and so on are. And then when we start to introduce the product and service we offer and start talking about pricing, quite often we find that in that sales discussion we get what's called an objection. And usually it's something that is a bit of a roadblock. And quite often it's something that the client wants to know or doesn't know, or something that's in their mind that they just can't get past. And the net result of all of that is that quite often you'll start to hear excuses during a sales conversation. Oh, I can't really afford it, or I don't have time, or some other excuse effectively. And so what we find is that if you think about it, what we're trying to do as part of a sales process, a sales conversation, is we're not really trying to sell anything per se, but we're trying to help the customer buy. And what we want to do is try and create, in a perfect world, the most seamless and slick sales process that we can. So it makes it easier for the customer to buy what we do, and therefore we can help more customers and help more people with what we do for them. Now, when it comes to objections, the best way to think about an objection is usually it's a question that's in their mind that they haven't asked or hasn't yet been answered. And so if we think about it from this perspective, rather than allowing the objections or waiting for the objections to come up during a sales conversation, what we want to do is reverse engineer the entire process. And what we want to do is think about, well, based on the customers you've spoken to so far, what are the questions that often come up? What are the common objections that they're sort of saying to us? Oh, well, we can't do this or we can't do that. What are those things? And write them all down. Create a list of all of those different objections. Then what you need to do is reverse engineer and say, well, based upon that particular question, objection, so on, what information do we need to provide ahead of that conversation, ahead of time, so that that question actually gets answered before we actually have the sales conversation. So what we're trying to do is provide a lot more information early on. Now, in previous videos and blog posts, I've written and spoken about a sales funnel and how people, when they're going through a buying process, want to get to know us, then they get to like us, then they get to trust us. And so effectively what we're doing is quite often having a sales conversation very late in the buying process, and that means the opportunity we have is to provide a lot more content, a lot more information earlier in the process, either written form, video form, and so on, through YouTube, through our website, through blogs, and so on. So prospective customers can read that information, watch those videos, educate themselves as to different potential elements of what it is you do, or particular common questions or problems that they might have. And once they've actually had that issue or problem or question resolved or addressed, they then progress through to the next point in their brain, and so it then is no longer an objection. So in essence, the perfect sales conversation is one where we've identified all of the objections, all of the problems and pain points, the types of questions that are likely to be asked, and we produce a short piece of information. We produce a short 30-second video or something else for the customers. We put it on YouTube, put it on our website, and they can go and actually ask or have their questions answered, watch the videos, read the information before we even have a conversation. And so for us in Transformed, there's a number of things that we often come up, particularly when we're dealing with qualifications. People want to know, well, how long does it take? How many hours each week do I need to put in? Can I get any credit for past studies? And so on and so forth. And so what we've done is produce short videos, 15 to 45-second videos. We've created a frequently asked questions section on our website, and we'll have that question, and then there's a video explainer about that particular point. And so what it means is that when we come to have a sales conversation, we actually don't have those questions come up anymore because they're answered in those videos ahead of time. And whilst some people still want to have that discussion, which is perfectly reasonable, what it helps to do is that when we do actually have a sales conversation with a prospective client, we're able to jump in, understand what their needs and problems and challenges are, and then when we get to the point of presenting our solution, then quite often it's a very quick and simple process, and we find at that point we've got a very, very high conversion rate. A lot of people at that stage say, yep, let's sign up, let's go, let's get moving. So that's it for me. So to create the perfect seamless sales process, what you need to do is identify those questions, comments and issues, reverse engineer the answers, and create some videos, blog posts, frequently asked questions and so on. Put them on your website, put them on your YouTube channel, and what that will do is help to answer the questions that the customers potentially have before they have a sales conversation with you. And that helps with your sales conversion, but it also helps to make sure the customers get the questions answered that they're trying to do. So that's it for me for this week. So no matter what your goal, what your objective, or what your strategy, let's get out there and get it done. Cheers.